Elizabeth Audencream.
This One's Wife, an evening of mutual ego masturbation. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Harry attended the Living Legends of Aviation last Friday, and I've reported further on that within the world of narcissism. But there continues to be fallout from it. And Daniela Elsa, writing for news.com.au, states as follows. So half the time when I open up Instagram, I get served ads offering me the incredible privilege of buying a title. I'd be lying if I didn't admit that being able to change my byline to include lady had a certain appeal. However, these companies are about as believable as that time in 2018 that Prince William said that peace in the Middle East was his lifelong project. If only someone had told Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, a man who has long since been separated from his last clue about this title malarkey before he was funneled via a back door into the Beverly Hilton over the weekend. The Duke, you see, was being recognised at the Living Legends of Aviation Awards, and there he seems to have very happily posed with a man named Prince Mario Max Schaumburg-Lippe. It's a title that seems at first glance legit, given that it feels like these days there are certain corners of Instagram where there are more than a few chin-challenge sorts toting vowel-heavy Teutonic titles or busy angling for their 15 minutes. The problem is, just because someone pops up with a grand appellation that makes them sound like their family had skin in the game back during the War of Austrian Succession doesn't mean they are on the level. Prince Mario Max reportedly has about the same royal bona fides as William does in Middle East peace negotiations. Mario Max's royal styling comes after he was adopted by Prince Valdemar of Schaumburg-Lippe-Nassau, a second cousin of Denmark's newest retiree, Queen Markle, who married Mario Max's mother, Gertrude Antonia, a former vet, in 2008. Mario Max had previously been adopted by Prince Valdemar's aunt, Helga Claire Lee, Princess of Schaumburg-Lippe, who is reported to have boasted about the man who was 66 years her junior being a boyfriend. Thus, you have the full measure of the man that Harry appeared more than willing to pose with. And it is a nearly painfully exquisite image. Two titled men who, with differing degrees of enthusiasm, have used their royal connections to cash in to keep themselves in velvet dinner jackets. Just the necessities, right? After that photo of Harry and Mario Max started doing the rounds, the actual head of the house, Prince Alexander, spoke to the Mail, saying of Mario Max, "It's very painful for me. This guy has been harvesting our name for his personal gain. Prince Harry cannot stoop lower than appearing with him. I would advise him to stay away from this man." Not only is Prince Mario Max's title quite the dubious tchotchke, but the award that Harry was in Beverly Hills to collect sounds like it was about as prestigious as winning Best in Show at the Basildon Dahlia Fair, or being named the UK Celebrity Spectacle Wearer of the Year. While some former Living Legends of Aviation Award honorees have included Buzz Aldrin and Chelsea Sully-Sullenberger, who landed a passenger jet on the Hudson, there are other names on the list of inductees that are hardly as upright and laudable. Names like Elon Musk and Tom Cruise, a man who spends his downtime working on his thetans. When news of Harry's Living Legends Award was revealed earlier this month, some military veterans back in the United Kingdom were quick to pour cold scorn on the former Captain Wales's commendation. Admiral Lord West, a former First Sea Lord, told the Telegraph, "He is not a living legend. There are lots of people who deserve to be called this, but not Prince Harry. I find it extraordinary he has been picked. He did not carry off any great exciting feat of amazing flying skill while flying for the army." Elsewhere, Admiral Lord West told the Mail, "I find the whole thing really rather pathetic." Over in The Sun, retired Colonel Richard Kemp said, a large number of military pilots, helicopter and fixed-winged aircraft have carried out some extraordinary feats of valour and phenomenal aviation that I'm afraid Harry did not do. The other main image from the actual awards came courtesy of fellow aviation living legend Lauren Sanchez, the one soon to be known as Mrs. Bezos. She shared a photo taking the event, showing the Duke, host John Travolta, herself, and Mr. Creatine Amazon himself, Jeff Bezos, a man who would appear to be working dutifully to make himself look like a jacked-up thumb. How has Harry sunk to this? To willingly make the roughly 4-hour round-trip drive from his Monty Shitshow home to Beverly Hills so that he can receive a meaningless award during an evening of mutual ego masturbation and dry chicken breast mains, all in front of a crowd of wrinkle-free foreheads. We have just passed the 4th anniversary of Megxit, the day that Harry and this one's wife channeled their inner Oppenheimer and dropped a homemade A-bomb on the Buckingham Palace back lawn. In those first days, weeks and months, it looked like they had the whole world, checkbooks open, tongs lolling at their feet. The biggest conundrum they seemed likely to face was going to be where to stay when they were convening their own working group at the UN, or which emoji to send Mackenzie, Bezos and Melinda Gates in their group chat. But my, oh my. What has instead come to pass is far off course from that glorious vision of Davos jetting and such brave do-goodery that the Dalai Lama would be on the blower asking for pointers. The Duke and Duchess are the epitome of best intentions come a bit undone, their ambitions seemingly having been hobbled by the vicissitudes of having to do paying work and lacking the well-oiled infrastructure of the palace. The problem of Harry these days is a bit like in the 13th century, when the King of Norway gave King Henry III a polar bear because gift cards hadn't yet been invented. The poor creature was kept at the Tower of London, would be taken for swims on a chain in the Thames. It hardly sounds like a charmed existence because that polar bear simply didn't belong paddling around upstream from the Palace of Westminster. Having been removed from its natural habitat, no one quite knew what to do with it. The same goes for the Duke of Sussex now. Put the man in front of a crowd of veterans or in a room full of people talking about mental health and wowee, he's not only brilliant but a natural. However, seeing Harry in that Beverly Hills ballroom or being ferried about California in a small convoy of bulky SUVs to have sugar-free mimosa brunches at operas is a bit like that polar bear. Do we really think, to borrow a phrase from the Duchess, that Harry is thriving? The answer might be, bloody hell yes. Harry might be joyfully bounding out of bed every morning now to greet each fresh day with vim, vigour, and new ideas for animated series. Only thing, he doesn't exactly project those vibes when he's in public. Seeing Harry and the not-a-real Prince Max Mario comes with a bit of eek-inducing foreshadowing. The Duke might have long since gotten into bed with corporate America, but Max Mario is something else entirely. He has appeared on German celebrity Big Brother, had a cameo on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills while briefly dating one of the show's stars, and once, according to the Mail, did some semi-naked modelling of lederhosen-style with swimming trunks. At one point, Mario Max sold a wealth elixir on the Home Shopping Network for $163 for a pop. I'm not suggesting that Harry would ever resort to such cheap, desperate ploys to curry attention, or to line his Dior pockets, but the Duke has shown a willingness to lend his name and title to a series of commercial endeavours. Even leaving aside Netflix, Spotify and Penguin Random House, along with Apple Plus, the Sussexes have hooked up commercially speaking, a speaker's agency, a Wall Street investment firm, a San Francisco, a multi-million-dollar startup, and gotten into the wellness game via the Duchess investment in Clever, a vegan instant latte business. Which is to say, other money-making options beyond just content appear to be very much on the table for the Sussexes. Hopefully, Harry's brief intersection with Mario Max will serve as something of a cautionary tale, that not only should he be careful of the company he keeps, but also that there is a line when it comes to money making. Those are Danielle Ailsa's observations. But what it does show with regard to her observations about his involvement with Prince Mario Max and his attendance at this awards ceremony is once again how far he has fallen, how he has sunk. And why? Because he was sold a lie by a narcissist. It's probably the neatest summary of a narcissist to say that the narcissist will sell you a dream and deliver a nightmare. In that golden period when all is rosy, when it's rainbows and unicorns and glitter, the victim believes that they've found somebody that loves them, adores them, likes so many of the things that they like, often provides them with mesmerizing sex, that they get on with many members of their family and friends, that they want to do similar things together, that this individual worships the ground on which the victim walks, and the victim, often vulnerable, having been chewed up by narcissists in the past, or having other vulnerabilities, like Harry with regard to the loss of his mother, cannot believe their luck to have found somebody so fascinating, so beautiful, so handsome, so wonderful, so caring, so compassionate. And driven by a combination of these benign manipulations and their own emotional thinking, powered by the addiction, they fall deeply in love with the illusion. They believe the dream. Harry will have believed the dream that was sold to him by the narcissist that his wife, namely, we don't need these people, i.e. the royal family. Let us head for freedom in the warm sunshine of California. They will love us there, Harry. Me, the actress, you, the royal. It's a winning combination. All our advisors have told us that, or rather, her advisors. We'll be welcomed. We will fit in with all the other A-listers that were there at the wedding. We'll be having breakfast with the Clooneys, lunch with Oprah, and dining with the Gateses. There's a world of opportunities for us that we can utilize in terms of making a living, and not just a living, but one where we thrive. We will be able to pick and choose the projects, Harry. We'll be able to go for long walks with the children that are bound to come on sandy beaches. You'll be able to get away from this cold, wet, dank place, away from the relatives who've never let you be you. I'll let you be you. And Harry, not particularly bright, easily led, no longer babysat by his older brother, afflicted by his emotional thinking, fell hook, line and sinker. It was the equivalent of a timeshare fraudster coming along. Harry was bowled over by the wiles of his wife. With lashings of spicy poontang, future faking and promised gain, she pledged him a dream, and now he finds himself walking in a nightmare. Where are his friends? He's been isolated from them. Where is his family? He's been isolated from them. Where are his in-laws? Many of them he never even met. He has been transplanted from a place that he knew well, with a support network that served to contain him, and has been placed in another country that is alien to him and his way of life. He appears to have done his best to embrace it, but it doesn't make sense to him. He was brought up with the notion of service, and as I've mentioned many times before, he's at his most comfortable and content with sleeves rolled up and getting his hands dirty, being out dealing with the elephants in Africa, for example, or helping people with regard to mental health issues in the military. Award ceremonies, glitzy dinners, walking the red carpet, those are not things for which he has been built, but that's what his wife wants. Because his wife's narcissism tells her that she can be seen, which enables her to control lots of people, that being seen in this way allows lots of fuel. It allows her to access those character traits and residual benefits, and therefore he has to go along with it. But not only Is he unhappy in terms of the role that she has carved out for him that he is expected to fulfill? The fact is that he no longer has her support because he's in the sustained devaluation. So not only is it the case that the very person that he thought loved him and supported him has turned against him with a variety of silent treatments, nuclear meltdowns, dropping to the floor, sobbing, criticizing him, comparing him unfavorably by triangulation with other people, and a whole host of other malign manipulations. Not only does he have that to contend with, but he finds himself pushed into a role which is entirely uncomfortable for him. And all of this has happened as a consequence of the fact that he met this one's wife. Thus he attends an evening of mutual ego masturbation, whilst most of the world looks at him with a mixture of derision and shaking their head, saying, "Oh, Harry, what have you done?" I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.